Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Bill.
That sounds like groggy Jake, not alive and ready and like primed to take on the day Jake.
No, we've only been hanging out for 78 days in a row, so you probably know my moods as well as I do now.
I was about to say, am I not doing it for you anymore? Am I not, raising the sales? Pun intended.
Yes, exactly. Sometimes you've got old sales and you just got to work with what you got.
And um, yeah, truer words have never been spoken. How
I'm,
was the day? What's that?
say, how's your morning going?
Man, it's good. I decided that I was going to stop, essentially screwing around with my intentions and take some action. So, got to bed at about 11 last night, which is incredibly early for me. Woke up at 6. I've already done my walk. I've already done my morning journaling, and as soon as we're done with here, I'm just jumping into tasks. I've already got them kind of written out here. Some stuff I need to be doing, and man, feels awesome. Feels really, really good. It was like dark when I got up this morning. So I took a headlamp with me and it was super nice. There wasn't anybody else out there. It was good.
Awesome, man. Good stuff. I'm going to be switching to walking before our show as well. I'm typically done it after, and it's good. I like it, but I would love to have that time back. And I think I want to be walking as soon as I'm up too, like get moving sooner. As it is now, I'm sitting around for an hour and a half before I really get moving, and I think I might like it better the other way.
And I didn't walk yesterday. We talked about it. I decided I was going to punish myself if I didn't go to bed on time. I wasn't going to get to go on my walk in the morning, and so I was adamant about it. And so got up, walked outside, and was going to go listen to my normal go to morning walk music to wake me up, which is Wu-Tang Clan, because what else would you listen to? And there was this like Get Moving playlist on Spotify that I started listening to instead. It was all like 188 beat and up music, and it
Oh,
made a huge difference on my walk this morning. Like I forget how much the ambient noise, because like I listen to Wu-Tang Clan and then I normally jump right into some Seneca to listen to like a Stoic Letter, and then I'll listen to an audiobook for the rest of the walk. But today I was like, I'm enjoying this, and it's all like poppy bubblegum like music, but like it's nice and fun and energy was up. It was good.
yeah, I was remembering how much music affects my day because I'm someone who likes to have music on while I work, which kind of keeps my mood up and keeps me moving and stuff like that. And there'll be days where I'll get started and not get in my routine, and that's one of the first things that falls for some reason with music. And I'll be halfway through my day and be like, something's missing. Like this doesn't feel like a day yet. What's going on? So
Yeah.
music is a big part of that.
We whenever we moved in here, we got a record player because Melissa's had all this Bowie vinyl for our entire relationship. She's been a collector. I mean, for longer than we've been together. And then when she was at Half Price Books, a huge David Bowie collection came in, and she got all of it, which was really, really, really awesome for her. But we've had all this Bowie vinyl for forever, and so when we moved in here, we're like, hey, we're in a kind of bougie neighborhood. Let's bouge it up a little bit and get a record player.
Yeah.
And so since then, we've kind of been on this tear of like collecting vinyl, and it's really interesting that I love to listen to music, but the venue of it has got to make sense, right? So like if I'm doing focus time, listening to an album kind of sucks because you got to get up and go over there and turn it, and kind of puts this break in there. So the other day I was sitting in the living room and I was journaling and I had my headphones on. I was the only person here. Melissa was like, why don't you just listen to an album? I was like, because then I got to go get up and turn the album. This morning when I was journaling, I was actually just listening to this is so boring, a propeller drone soundtrack that comes in my Focus at Will app. So yeah, so it's for intense focus, and it's just a propeller drone, which doesn't sound all that interesting, but my journaling was pretty epic this morning. It was awesome.
So how was yesterday?
Yesterday was weird, man. If I'm being real, I don't know why, but I'm wearing a power shirt today and a power hat because, man, I was just kind of in a funk when I was wrapping my day up yesterday. I was doing some prospecting on LinkedIn and just running into walls and, kind of feeling just guilty by association. And then I had to write in my journal last night, like, I am not guilty of the sins of other salespeople, right? So these people who were pissed off because their walls are up because they're getting pitched, and I put some of this stuff in my Facebook group because it's like, you're going to run into this stuff, right? And this one person was like, you're trying so hard to not sound like everybody else. You sound just like everybody else. What's your 30-second commercial? What are you trying to pitch me and everything else? And I'm like, I I had this moment of like, cool, I can placate and make this okay and everything else like this, or I can challenge, right? And be like, hey, sounds like your walls are way up here. I get it, mine are as well. Can we just agree that any 30-second commercial I give you right now with your walls up is just going to be noise? So nothing to talk about right now. I hope the content helps. If you want to talk about it later on, that's totally okay. The difference between me and everybody else you're talking to is I'm going to wait until you ask me to pitch you. So we're going to play with the LinkedIn message a little bit, the intro message, because I think it's too long, and stuff like this. But essentially, I'm just going to make it, the thing I journaled last night was like, I like to network, which means having conversations and hopping on a call and having conversations. If you would like to network, let's get connected. If you're scared of networking, just go ahead and reject me. Like, I'm going to put that in my intro message because I'm tired of getting connected with these people who have their walls up, who will just collect these connections and not ever do anything with them. You either want to have a conversation with me or you don't, or something along those lines. I don't know. That might be a little too hard, but I'm a little.
Yeah, you're on the heels of the.
Yeah. Well,
I was on. Foam still coming up on the shore on this one.
Yeah, I was on my heels yesterday. Now I'm too aggro about it, and then eventually I'll kind of settle down to about a 6 of 10. I'm at about an 8 of 10 right now, and I need to come off of that a little bit. But yeah, it just happened twice, and on both of them, I pushed back pretty hard, right? And this one guy was like, "Man, I can't get a straight answer out of you," and I was like, "Well, there's different levels, man. Yeah, I mean," and I said to him, I said, if you don't appreciate the fact that I'm not trying to anchor you to like a low price or like a bait and switch technique just to get you on a call, you don't want to talk to me anyway because you would hate my sales philosophy and you wouldn't want to work with one of my salespeople. Good luck. Right? After he got pissed off at me. 2 minutes later, well, I'm not scared of a bait and switch. I just don't really know if you do what I need. I don't know either. Should we have a conversation? And now it's scheduled. So sometimes the challenges help, right? Because some of these people, and I didn't really understand this until I started working with Clint so much on the podcast. Some of these Ds just want to poke you, right? They just want to do like, okay, what are you going to do? Right? Are you just going to take it or not? And stuff like this. And Clint talks about it all the time. He loves to see how much a salesperson will take. And he goes, man, sometimes it's not until they bump up and say, go fuck yourself, essentially, that he's like, okay, cool, now I can respect you because I know you're not just going to take it, right? So in some of these things, if you're getting pushback, oh my god, another one, right? You can take the funny way, you can be clever, and I've done all of that stuff, and now I'm just like, look, I'm here to network, which means conversations, connections, looking for referrals and calls. If you're not into that, I get it. I don't know why you're here. Good luck marketing yourself into the lowest cost option. So.
Yeah, it's true. A lot of people doing that.
A lot of people doing that.
That's where I think it'd be it's an interesting line, probably person to person too, to know how many of those, like I wouldn't push back on some of those people. I'd be like, all right, cool, check, bye. I'll check back later. I wouldn't challenge or play cat. I'd be like, all right, cool. I'll check back later, period.
To me, the line is, how challenging are you, right, in these things, right? Because if the way that I think about it is the more challenging they are, the more challenging I'm going to be, because I don't really have anything else to lose in those moments, right? And I learned that from a sales coach, that this is not mine, but I use this a lot. If they're really pissed, you got to kind of be like the same level of detached as they are angry, kind of deal, like hands up. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who sold you snake oil, but
right.
That's not me.
Right.
So,
Mike, what's up, man?
Good morning. What's going on, Mike?
Cool. Anything else yesterday?
Let's see. had a really good conversation with a client about this essentially kind of partner. It was eventually going to be a closer and then someone who can handle some like operations and stuff. But this guy that we're looking at is, I told my client yesterday and I said, look, if you don't hire this dude, I am hiring this dude
Right.
and I will take over the world because this dude is just like hungry, picked up, moved across the country to go be the entrepreneur in residence at Nike, got tired of that, moved back, prospected into his job selling like that kind of like middle third of the internet that no one ever hears about but everybody enjoys, and he wants to come in and like have some ownership and lead a team and everything. And I'm like, yes, let's go. He's a Jocko fan. I met him at the jiu-jitsu camp last year. Solid guy. Like I'm super excited. So that conversation's moving forward. Had some conversations with clients. This one CRM client, man, we have a call every Monday. It's the I need 50 more people just like him. Like he has like one question a week, but he's using it every day and he's like super happy with it and thrilled. And I need to be defining that market better so that way I can go find those people and do these live builds and knock them out and stuff like that.
Yeah, when that's where I was headed. Like, how can you find more of him? Like, what's so good about him?
And he is okay. So let's talk about this because maybe this is a good topic for the show. But before that, how was your day yesterday? I don't want to monopolize the talk.
It was good. I had a pretty heavy day. It was a pretty heavy Monday. It was pretty much meetings all day. I'm looking at my calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had a couple good follow-ups with client work. Upsold clients successfully yesterday, so that's always a good feeling. To the kind of next level of stuff that we're doing for them. Let's see.
Was that a court client or was that like a free group to content camp?
No, that was a court client.
Oh.
And actually, for definition standpoint, from now on, if I'm talking about clients, it's going to be court clients. Otherwise, I'll be talking about group members.
Oh, roger that. Okay.
Or whatchamacallit, I'll spell out my stuff specifically. Anyway, so that was good. And then I did some work on, I'm talking about for work, doing a workbook. So when people come on and do like the program, like the prescription that we have for the client, like our ideal client, actually having a worksheet for each step that they can participate in that's pre-built out, that's already printed and nice. And so I've seen a lot of people do that in the proposal stage, or like a lot of people will do paid discoveries and things like that. We'll have nice workbooks or just notebooks that are blank, but they're nice. This is actually how you've signed on with us. We've already, you've signed it because we paid. Now here's your workbook through what we're going to do for you. And we're going to try and use it as a way of communication to stay in touch and reiterate the fact that there's a plan. It's not like you've signed up and we're going to get you clients. Great.
Yeah.
Talk to you in a week, or talk to you in 2 weeks, or keep a touch point that's easy for us in between so everyone knows where things are. So that was fun. We worked on that yesterday. Got our initial draft done on that.
So can I ask you a question about that?
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys struggle with people forgetting why they're paying you and what you're doing?
No. Where the idea was, we had heard a lot of people when doing a sales pitch saying, we've worked with agencies in the past and they sell really good. And then when we get on board with them, it's like they just forget about us. Like sure, they execute on the deliverables, but it just feels like, it's like they got what they need out of us, and we're not going to see them very often. We only see them when they need us, or when payments due and things like that. And we're like, okay, well, that's not us, but we understand. That's unfortunate. And you've been in the agency world long enough to know that there are a lot of agencies that work that way. I say a lot. There's a fair amount that work that way. So we were just like, what could we do to stand out in general that we don't have to build once,
Yeah, that's fair.
So it was more like a proactive thing. It wasn't a reactive, like, let's do something about that, so that when people talk about us, they go, you should totally work with them. Check out what they did. I got this.
I think maybe that part of that just comes down to a lack of ownership over like who you're dealing with, right? If you're talking to just like a standard lead gen agency, right, and they're just doing lead gen for you, you shouldn't have to have that many conversations once you have it dialed in, right? Pay
Mhm.
me, here's your leads. Pay me, here's your leads. Pay me, here's your leads. Now, if you're not hitting on the right cylinders, of course, then sure, you need to be in there having those conversations, automating that. And I think something like branding is gonna have a lot of high touch and stuff like this. But some of the stuff like SEO, right? I mean, how much talking do you really need once you're into the campaigns?
Well, this is a really good conversation, actually, because I'm reading a book right now called Giftology, and it's about growing referrals
Hmm.
through gifting, but it's like really thoughtful, intentional gifting for clients. Um, and I read another book. Gosh, I'm gonna blank on the name of it. I'll come up with it. Anyway, point being is what type of relationship do you want with your clients? Do you want a transactional one, or do you want a relational one? And some people just want a transactional relationship, and that's fine. But and maybe it does a lot of times ties to the type of work you're doing, like you're saying SEO. I could see that, but even like just the way I am, I prefer relational business relationships, not transactional ones, just in general. Because if there's ever issues, it's easier to get into a conversation that's comfortable, and people know, Jake's honest, high integrity. So whatever he comes with, hopefully they'll know, it's good, whatever. So I tend to lean to the opposite way, and maybe it's my eye, maybe not. Um, but I think it's if I'm gonna, even if I was a C or an S, I think if I after reading these books, I would still have a tendency to go, I can maybe create some more touch points past the transactions that would continue to build relationship that would be really valuable that I don't have to touch all the time. It's not like I don't touch it, but there are touch points that are really relational feeling. So that's kind of more where we were headed with that.
I mean, that's fair, but like,
The work's the work. I get that for
yeah,
sure. It's
well,
good.
sure, but like, okay, so I firmly believe that if you're charging somebody monthly, there should be an option to check in monthly, like go over the reports, make sure you guys are on the same page, and everything else like that. Like I think that makes sense and that makes fair, or that
It
whatever.
is fair. Yeah,
But everybody forgets everything. I haven't talked to my guy in forever, right?
sure.
And so then what happens is, how do you fight that well, right? Because I think that what's going to happen is you're going to send this workbook to people and they're going to forget about it and not really do it, right? And then it might trigger this thing of like entitlement in you or anybody else at Quirk of just like, man, you got the
Uh,
book. Why aren't you
we're
looking at the book?
using the workbook as an excuse to reach out more often.
Ah, okay,
So,
interesting.
yeah.
Okay,
So the idea is we're going to check in weekly, and we have preset check-ins that based on the workbook.
okay.
And we're gonna automate a large part of it because we're gonna write them in our own voice and personal and talk about that section of the workbook and ask them questions to get them engaged. Um, so if they want to respond, they can, and they can have conversation. And if they don't want to, guess what? They still got an email from us. They heard from us this week. Plus, they're gonna have their monthly. So we're just trying to create more opportunities to feel engaged as a customer.
Hmm. Okay. What do you got today, buddy?
So today I've got another client meeting. I've got a potential client. They want us to rewrite a script for a video. It's a home builder.
Hmm.
So I'll be interested to see what they've already shot, or yeah, they already shot it once and didn't work. So they're coming back to the drawing board. So we're gonna take a look at that. So I'm not sure where this is at in the sales process. That's maybe that'd be something I can bring on the show tomorrow. Is this is where they're at in the sales process. How would you shoot video here? What would be helpful?
Did y'all record the first one?
No,
Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
no, we had done. I guess Cork had done the website, but we hadn't done any
Oh,
video work.
okay. Yeah. Let's break that down tomorrow because I'm curious as to how you guys handle that.
Yeah, and then we're going to do. Let's see, we got a story brand session today with the clients, and then got a lot of client meetings actually today.
Good.
But then of course I got to do my asks and my walk
Yeah.
after that.
And you got to drive back, right? Is that tonight?
Uh, Afternoon. Yeah, the
Okay.
goal is to get it all done before the drive, and because I have
Okay.
a 4 o'clock call, so I'd like to be back to my house at 4 for that one instead of leaving here
Oh, dang. Okay.
at 5.
Interesting. Okay.
Sprint
Uh,
sprint day.
yeah. Let's see. I have my protected window to do some deep work. I have a catch up call with the guys for the real estate thing. I have a call today at 1 with this guy who's a content writer, and I've been looking at this dude's site for a while, and I just love his vibe. It's like a little bit like Ted, right? That kind of take it or leave it kind of approach, which I dig, but maybe a little bit more polished, right? Than Ted
Yeah, you
is,
showed
right?
me last week.
Yeah, yeah, Todd,
Oh, that's
Todd,
cool. Yeah,
yeah.
I'll put this stuff here.
So, and you know what? I was like, you know what? I've been looking at this dude's site for a long time. I've been reading his stuff. Let's have a consultation. You know why? I mean, you know why not? And so I filled out his contact form, and he says that he sent me an email, but I didn't get it. So his follow up email says, "Hey John, you reached out, you raised your hand, I followed up. Crickets. Is this still something we're talking about?" And I love it as like a follow up email, but like I emailed him and I was like, man, this is either the best I missed a step email that
Mhm.
causes, scarcity and, time pressure in the other person, or I didn't get your first email. And he was like,
Yeah.
"Oh man, sorry about that." So yeah, so we're chatting today. That'll be interesting. Sales lab is today at 2 o'clock. Consulting, practice, role playing, positioning, all of that stuff. You're more than welcome to be there, Bill. If Levi shows up, you guys can like man crush on each other.
What
Um,
time? What time's that?
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. All right.
You'll
We'll see.
you'll probably be on the road. Um,
Which means I probably could do it though, because I could just tune in and listen.
oh man, you don't
Right.
want to do that while you're driving.
Well, I won't participate. I'll just listen. That's what I'm saying. It'd be something
Oh,
I could pop
okay.
in. Like instead of the radio, I could listen to some sales practice.
Okay. Would that be helpful?
Well, yeah, repetitions. Like my stuff, repetitions are everything.
Now, Jake, I know why I think repetitions are important, but you're not me. Why do you like repetitions?
I just listen to my coach. Otherwise, why am I listening? Why do I have a coach? I'm not
I
gonna
mean,
listen.
that's fair. That's the thing right there, right? And that's the mindset you have to have if you're working with people. Like, hey, if you're not willing to listen, you shouldn't work with me at all,
No,
right? Kind of deal.
that should be the way you treat your customers too. I think,
Hmm.
like just
Yeah,
in general, because
absolutely.
that's one of my main filters is if you're not ready for this stuff right here, then we probably shouldn't keep talking.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. A guy, a guy that I coach was like, "Okay, man, I'm over it." And I was like, "Man, we've said that before." And he was like, "No, I'm over it. I'm ready." And I was like, "Ready for what?" And he was like, "Daily accountability." And I was like, "Okay, you're going on the list, and you're gonna get daily accountability, daily check-ins to check your shit, do your stuff, and to be accountable to your goals and your actions." And he was like, "All right, I'm in it." I was like, "All right, let's go." So, but yeah, you got to check that box, right? And as a coach or person who's working with people, like you have to wait for people to check that box, um, because
You
otherwise
should.
you're, huh?
You should.
You're supposed to, yeah.
Otherwise, it's
um,
a heartache for you as the coach.
yeah. And then at 3 today, I have a campaign review for a campaign that we have going on some prospecting lead gen stuff for me. So yeah. Okay. So real quick, and then I'll let you go because I'm trying to be better about tightening this thing up. My bill bet for the family was to not ruin meditation for Alice. So last night,
Oh yes.
rough day yesterday. I got done and I was like, I worked until about 7:30 last night, which is
Wow.
ridiculous, way too long.
Yeah.
But we didn't really have a dinner plan, so there was no real urgency for me to be done working. So I just kept working. And so uh, we do all of this, and then I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go sit. Have you thought about sitting today?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, totally thought about sitting today." And I was like,
Good step.
"Well, are you gonna do it now?" Like I was the greenest salesperson ever. I was like, "Well, uh, you know, yeah," and I'm like, "Okay, so do you plan to do it today?" And she's like, "Yeah, here in a little bit." And I was like, "Okay, awesome." And Melissa's just looking at me, and she's just like, "Easy, easy." And I'm like, "I know, I'm being easy, I'm being easy." And then I was like, "Okay, now I really got to go sit." So I went and sat for about 30 minutes, and then she didn't like actually sit, but she was excited about it. So maybe today we'll see what
Well,
happens.
yeah, that's great. Baby steps because she's still thinking about it, and
Hmm.
she sounded excited. So
Very
that's
excited.
great. That's great.
Yeah, I'm taking that as the biggest win.
Heck yeah. You be that drop of water on the rock. That's
Yeah,
all you got to do for her.
all you got to be.
Yep. Awesome, man.
Awesome. Yeah.
If they do,
Well,
that's
my
on.
mom just called, so I want to call her back, make sure she's okay because we don't talk very often. It's
Okay.
probably a birthday call, but man,
Okay.
have a great day, buddy.
Yes. Have a great day, Bill. We'll
Be
talk to you
safe
guys
on
later.
the road. You got a long drive.
Bye, Mike Tao. I saw you.